What is going on YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm bringing you another BT7 match. Today we're going to be having the finals of the half case event that happened at Rocky Mountain Collectibles this last weekend. This is going to be between Cherubimon on the left, and on the right we are going to be having Red Hybrid. Now this is round 5 of the event, so both the players here are sitting at 4-0, having a very good run throughout the day. Going to go ahead and Digivolve into the Hybrid in the back, which is going to give the opponent 3 memory, which is going to be just enough for them to be able to play this red memory boost here. Going to be able to choose between the Flamemon or the Burning Greymon, depending on what they want. Decided to go with the Flamemon, which is fine because you're going to be able to search out other hybrids and tamers anyway, so going to play it out immediately in between the Piercing Flamemon or the Aguni. Just going to go with the Aguni. Did pass up one hybrid already with that Burning Greymon, so going to grab that Aguni, have a couple in hand. Now going to go up with the Lady Devimon, a card that's been seeing a lot less play recently for whatever reason, but still just extremely powerful. So going to pitch off the Antilamon and the Lucamon. The Antilamon not going to be too much help to you without any tamers in the trash, and then the Lucamon going to be able to come back later with the Cherubimon, kind of the main card that you're trying to revive with the Cherubimon. So gonna go ahead and play out the Kari. The Lotmon effect is going to allow them to gain a memory, so put the opponent at 2, and Kari is just a very good card in these type of matchups because your opponent's going to be swinging a lot, so you might as well be shortening their turns by gaining memory. Obviously they do have the red memory boost in the back, which they can pop to get extra memory, which they are going to do right now, so that does play around the Kari just a little bit, but the Kari does have effects pretty much every single turn, so you're going to be able to get multiple memory out of this. But we're going to go with the Atomic Inferno. Going to be able to swing 2 checks at, I believe, 9k with the Digitama in there, and they're both going to survive, so being able to get those aggression checks early. Going to go with the Flamemon, which will go down to the Gazimon, so it's not looking too bad for the purple player because they are going to be able to swing over the Aguni. Actually, they are not going to be able to swing over the Aguni because the Lady Devi is down here. So I was going to say you would be able to swing over the Aguni with the Lady Devi, or potentially go into Cherubimon to pop it, and then your opponent doesn't have any tamers on the board, so they don't really have anything going on for them next turn that's super crazy. So you would have been potentially able to bring something back there, but that it was a very good Atomic Blaster. Being able to get rid of the Lady Devimon there is going to slow down the purple player a lot. You just took 3 checks from them. Now they only have 2 security checks left. There's a high chance that this Agunimon can stay until next turn, and if it does, you're going to be able to swing another check, put them down to 1, while also putting a Digimon in the raising area, which next turn will be able to promote, and no matter what, be able to put them down to 0. So then you'll just have to have something like Agunimon or Burning Greymon or just anything like that. They can go ahead and play out a Lucamon, which we know is in the trash, if they get up into Cherubimon, which will be able to recover them a little bit, but man, they just took a lot of checks that turn. 3 checks in 1 turn so early is just really impactful. It really shows the red hybrid power of the Atomic Inferno, just being able to go super crazy. And now we're going into the Aldamon, which is going to have a natural security attack +1, meaning it's going to be able to swing for the 2 checks, assuming that it does survive, but it does have 1 extra check from Kaporimon. We're going to get the Dead or Alive to come out, and so we have enough cards to be able to play out the Lucamon, which is going to be able to recover, and then the second check will come out and it will survive, but they are going to be able to tap the Kari, go to 1, and now the purple player is in a pretty decent spot just because they will be able to swing over the Aldamon with the Lucamon to be able to get rid of that on the board. And then since your opponent doesn't have any tamers on the board right now, that means that if they go in with the Flamemon next turn, you will go down to 0, and then you won't really have any game ender right there, and you'll have to wait 1 more turn. But the only problem is that for the purple player, you have 1 security and your opponent has 5, and they're essentially just going to be continuing to pressure you with offensive pressure every single turn, and you're putting on almost no offensive pressure really. Swung in with the Eismon to be able to trade into the Aldamon so you could get the on deletion effect there and not threaten to potentially hit a tamer, which could be essentially game ending for you at this point, and then swing over with the Lucamon. I don't know if I 100% agree with trading in right there. I think I probably would have went face, but I do understand that if you do hit a tamer right there, you essentially just lose the game on the spot unless you can choke your opponent and they don't have Gravity Crush. But we're going to go ahead and go with a Jackraid to gain 1, going to 2, see what they can do with this. You probably want to be continuing to choke your opponent as much as possible, so that way they can just get as little use out of their turn, as well as you can shorten it even more with the Kari. So we're going to see the Labramon come out, going to be able to draw 1, discard 1, get some more cards in the trash. But like I said, this is starting to look really rough for the purple player because this Flamemon's definitely going to probably just swing in this turn, clear that check. As we see right there, going to clear the check. It does go down, which means that they don't have to deal with it next turn, but now your opponent has tie on the board, which means they're going to go to 3 memory no matter what, so all they need is a hybrid to essentially lock it up next turn. You're going to have to be able to play another Lucamon and be able to heal up here, or play some sort of blocker, but I don't believe this deck is playing any blockers. The only real defense that it has for this is going to be playing out another Lucamon, so we're going to go ahead and play Dead or Alive here. Is there another Lucamon in here? There is. It's actually the Chaos Mode, which is going to be able to pop the tie. I didn't even really think of that, and that does technically work out perfectly. You are going to be able to get a card on the board and going to be able to pop the tie. The only problem now is that it didn't really progress you too much, because now we will be able to go for essentially 3 checks next turn with your opponent's 4 security, but then you need 2 more checks. You don't have a Digimon in raising, and you're likely not going to have enough memory to be able to go into 2 hybrids, and now your opponent has a Burning Greymon on the board, and that's not even that big of a deal because you could get rid of that. The big problem is the Flamemon in raising, because you essentially can't interact with that at all outside of getting the Lucamon, so we'll see what happens here. Swinging in, once again risking that if they hit a Tamer, the game just ends, but the opponent's security looking fairly weak, so just got to try to get rid of this Burning Greymon, and also recover up with at 1 memory, I think is borderline impossible, so I don't think that will be happening here. I think really your only play is to potentially get Lucamon out, and then Lucamon will be able to recover, and you have a recovery stack that's able to pop the Flamemon or the Burning Gray. But we're just going to go into the Cherubimon. The Cherubimon will pop the Burning Gray, and then the Flamemon's going to promote and take game 1. So purple player was pretty far behind a lot of that game ever since that Atomic Inferno turn. Going into the Aldemon definitely didn't help either, so going to have to try to make some adjustments here. Deciding to go first, interestingly enough. Sure, the red deck is going to be fairly aggressive and going to be able to go in early, but I still think you probably want to go second, just so that way your opponent has to give you resources you can respond to. You play cards like Deathclaw and whatnot, which can let you combo with things like the Labramon to be able to play it. Deathclaw, pop something on the board. Gonna swing in with the Eismon, hit the Takuya. That's not going to be good, because now the Emperor Greymon's essentially live, which means at any point, if you go down to 0 security, you could just lose the game, because Takuya can go into Emperor and Blitz. Now, gonna have to get some hybrids in trash first, but I don't think that's going to be a big problem. There's going to be a lot coming in. You're going to be able to Digivolve on top of these Flamemons if you want, swing in, be able to get multiple hybrids in the trash by the time that Emperor Greymon comes live. But we're going to have to see what the red player wants to do here. They got a couple rookies on board, which they could use to swing in. The opponent doesn't have Kari, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. We're going to swing in at 2k with the Kapurimon. Cherubimon's going to deny that, take it down, and then the other Flamemon, are they thinking about Digivolving on top of it? Are they going to swing? I think if you leave it on the board, it is going to just get deleted. So we're going to go with the Burning Greymon. No target for the Burning Greymon, but can swing over the Eismon. And now that Takuya's gone, so the Emperor Greymon threat isn't that big of a deal, but I do think this is a fairly good use of the Takuyamon, because now you get rid of the Eismon, but also surviving, and your Flamemon's going to go in and it's going to go down, but you can play out another one to search. Going to hit BT7 Flamemon and tie, so fairly good turn there. Your opponent just has Koichi on the board, which isn't really going to do too much for them, and they do get a Digimon in raising now, but that's not going to come out till next turn. You have 2 Digimon on the board. If you do swing both of them in, your opponent's going to go down to 1 security while you're at 4. You'll be able to put a Digimon in raising, and your just aggressive pressure is really probably going to be able to do it here. They go up into the 6k and trade. I think you have to there, just because the presence is so impactful, being able to get all that aggression while also being able to threaten to just potentially live again. And also the champion being there with the Tamer underneath does mean that they could potentially go into either of the Aldemons, which is not going to be good either, because that just gets even stronger and a higher chance that they survive in security. So purple player just trying the best that they can to keep alive, but I think this is a very much uphill battle for them. They really haven't seemed like they were stabilized at all anytime in this match so far, and it doesn't really look like it's getting to that time anytime soon, because your opponent is just keeping you at rookie and champion level, not being able to go up into ultimates, and that's really going to slow down your Cherubimon plays, obviously. I don't think there's any Lucamon in trash, so that means that Dead or Alive isn't even really that active, and all you have is this mat, which is going to prevent you from getting choked, which was something that was a big problem last game, but you're going to probably have to Digivolve on top of that with a hybrid at some point, so it's not the most impactful card. But going into Eismon, going to swing in here. Kokomon's effect is going to whiff. A very interesting card there to play with the Kokomon. You're going to reveal the top 3 and trash Tamer, which is a Digitama that we don't see too often. Very interesting that they decided to include it in the deck. I think since they are playing things like the Antilamon in here and not playing the yellow package, it does make some sort of sense, because you're going to be able to bring back more purple Tamers than a lot of other of these type of Cherubimon lists are, just because of that Antilamon. So a little different inclusion there, some spice, but now going to be able to trash the Eismon. That's going to be able to come back, but you're still not looking too great. I would imagine at this point they're probably looking to try to get one of the Lucamon out with like Dead or Alive to get rid of this tie, but also just put a big body on board, so when your opponent tries to swing in, you have something to swing over. And there is the Dead or Alive, going to put the opponent all the way to 5, a very expensive card, but the Lucamon's going to be able to come out and be able to pop the tie, so did go exactly with that, which is nice, because now your opponent's has the potential to choke them next turn, and then they also don't have the Tamer to be able to go on top of the hybrid, so you have a little bit more safety, at least for one turn, but you did give them 5 memory, which means they could very easily play down another 4-drop Tamer, like the Tai, without really breaking a sweat there. But gonna go up into the Aldemon here, so with that effect, I believe they are at 12k, plus the Demimera if they swing in. They do have Piercing, but that's not going to be relevant here. Ooh, the Atomic Inferno, so they just want to go in. They want to get these 2 checks in. They want to swing in at, I believe that is 16 because of the Demimeramon, so gonna hit the mat, bring back the Cherubimon, and then hit the Neo Devi. Not even close to being able to take down the Aldemon here. If they were to have something crazy right here, they might be able to go in for game, but I don't think they're playing any crazy megas like that. So they're gonna go ahead and play the Flamemon, grab the BT7 Flamemon there, and now we're just in a position where you're gonna have to try to get rid of this Flamemon and the Aldemon on the board. The Aldemon's gonna be able to be taken care of by the Lucemon, so I imagine you're probably going to see a swing over the Aldemon here, and then you can Digivolve into the Cherubimon to go ahead and pop the Flamemon, and then your opponent has no Tamers, which means they aren't going to be able to declare an attack next turn, so that's pretty good, and you put your opponent at 1 because you popped the Tai, so we're going to bring back Koichi. We're going to be able to pop. Koichi's effect is also going to pop, and that's going to bring out another Eismon. That is actually huge, because now you have 3 Digimon on the board with 1 in raising to your opponent's 3 security, so unless they have something like Gaia Force or maybe even the Atomic Blaster, you're probably just going to be able to go in. And even if they do get rid of some of your Digimon, you do have 3 Tamers in the back, and this deck plays Jack Raids, so if you just have 1 Jack Raid, you could even go in for 2 Hybrids, which would make up for a lot of damage if your opponent was able to clear the board here, but I'm not sure what you're going to be able to do here. This Cherubimon puts you in a very good spot. You're going to be able to Atomic Blaster to get rid of one of the Eismons, which leaves you with 3 Digimon on the board, so you can definitely just swing in and then go for a Hybrid, and you have game. I think that's just the play here. I assume that's what we're going to see go in. Cherubimon's going to swing, hit Tai, so that's a little bit scary, because if you do hit something like Atomic Blaster next check and you can't go in for game, then you definitely just lose, and the Atomic Inferno is going to come out, so then you just hybrid for game. Little cut there because thinking, and no hybrid, so that is unfortunate. That was essentially going to be a game-winning hybrid right there, and didn't have it somehow. I'm surprised that they don't play it. I don't think they have Loemon in this list, which is the problem. I think they're just playing the Retaliation hybrid, and so no Loemon is going to greatly lower the amount of hybrids that you have in this list, so that is decently unfortunate. Gonna go and play the Dead or Alive there to bring back Lucemon, so that way you can recover 1, but you just gave your opponent 7 memory. They're going to be able to swing in with the Flamemon, and with the red hybrid deck, I gotta say there's probably close to 100% chance that they got a hybrid in their hand. So Flamemon swing in, go with a hybrid for game, but even they're thinking, are they both missing hybrids in their hybrid decks? This is kind of crazy. So Flamemon's going to go check, hit a Lucemon. Yeah, there's the Burning Greymon. Like I said, there was pretty close to 100% chance that they were going to have a hybrid there, because it's red hybrid. They have so many. But with that being said, if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, because I'm going to be bringing you even more BT7 content, including some more matches from this half case event that we had at Rocky Mountain Collectibles. But I hope you all have a great day. I will catch you next time. Peace out.